Welcome back to the Unbiased Opinion, where everyone's opinion is biased, except ours. I'm Colin,
I'm Craig.
and we don't have that other guy with us this week.
Who?
That other guy, doesn't matter. Piggybacking off of the three Transformers movies we talked about last week, we said we're going to cover the fourth and fifth movie. So here we are with Transformers Age of Extinction and Transformers The Last Night. And boy, are these movies kind of bad. Not kind of. Are they? They're bad. They're bad.
And not even like the other ones are enjoyable for a different reason, but these aren't even enjoyable in that sense.
I think Michael Bay was sleepwalk directing throughout the making these two films. He honestly seemed like he did not care. He just kind of gave up, and these movies just come across, especially the fifth one, they just come across as lazy.
Well, 'cause I don't think he wanted to do the fourth or the fifth. I think that they keep convincing him to come back.
Yeah, so he originally said he only wanted to do three of them, and then even after he did the fifth one, he told Steven Spielberg that he wished he only did the three. So
I can see why.
let's start with the fourth one, Age of Extinction. It doesn't have Shia or any of the other cast. It's a whole brand new cast. It has Mark Wahlberg, who is an inventor. In case you didn't hear that the first 100 million times, he tells everyone he is an inventor, and it's really annoying. And this one again is written by Eron Kruger by himself. And Craig, what did you think of this one?
It was not great and kind of boring.
It is the longest of the Transformers movies. It is a 160 something, I believe. 165 minutes.
Because like there are action scenes, but a lot of it's just like human car chases or human versus human conflict, and they're just not as exciting. Like you want to see giant robots going to war with each other, and you got like a car chase.
Do you just want to talk about that car chase now? Because I have so much to talk about for that scene in particular. How bizarre it just came out of nowhere.
I thought you wanted to do the rest of the cast.
Okay, yeah, fine. You convinced me. Then we got to talk about that. They have T.J.
So Marky Mark
Miller.
has a daughter, in case you didn't
Yeah,
know.
yeah, he does have a daughter, and
Who I
T.J.
found out recently, she was Katara from the last Airbender movie.
Oh, what a stellar career she's had.
Oof, man! Like most people would kill to be in a blockbuster, and you're like in two of like one of the worst blockbusters of the decade.
TJ Miller's barely in it, thank God. I can't stand him. He is so unfunny and so annoying.
I thought he
He
was your favorite
dies.
actor.
That's not true. He dies in the movie. We have Stanley Tucci.
Can I just say real quick? Is
Yes.
that your favorite scene in the movie when he died?
It's probably it was the funniest scene he's ever been in. I'll say that. He's not funny. What was I saying? Yeah, Stanley
Stanley
Tucci's in
Tucci.
it. Kelsey Grammer's in it. And we have this guy whose name I forget, who's bald, and he's the CIA guy. I don't know. He's the guy who does the dirty work for Lockdown. The guy with the buzz cut. I mean, he's not bald.
Yeah, the guy who gets his eye poked.
Yeah, whoever that guy is, he's in there too.
And don't
And
forget,
there's the daughter's boyfriend who's older than her because they really had a dialogue explaining the Romeo and Juliet law.
that was so creepy. Like, I don't know why he couldn't be like a year older than her, and like, or not even bring it up. Like,
It was like
uh,
it was their alibi. Like they knew he was going to ask something like that, so they were prepared. It was like they had the law in like a pocketbook in their back pocket.
yeah, like the statue quoted. Like, we got proof that we dated in high school, therefore it's okay. I'm like, why would you need like why?
Anyone see a problem with this?
Like, it's weirder that you have to like defend it.
Yeah, that's just something that an editor could have easily just removed and
Yeah, there's
put
no
that
reason
on
for
the
that
cutting
scene.
room floor. It has no impact on the movie whatsoever. No impact. So piggybacking a couple years off of the third movie, the Autobots are now getting hunted
Like,
down.
Colin, you forgot one more cast member.
Who's that?
the Chinese actress who
Oh yeah, I
was
don't know.
brought in for Chinese pandering.
Yes. Well, I guess we could talk about that because
Well, we'll look at that later.
yeah, we'll talk about that later. The Autobots are getting hunted down by humans now because of the mess Optimus Prime left in the third movie with all of his war crimes he's committed. And the movie starts off with just Ratchet getting just utterly destroyed for no reason. Like he's done nothing in all these movies, and this is the most screen time he's gotten consistently. And he just gets like blown up. His leg gets blown off, and then Lockdown comes up and just rips his heart out.
I mean, it was probably my favorite scene in the movie, if I'm being honest. Not because like Ratchet's getting like brutally murdered, just because it felt like an actual scene. They want to make me like fall asleep or blow my brains out.
Well, it's hard for it to put you to sleep if that's like the first scene of the movie.
Well, true, but I don't know. I felt like it was a scene from an actual movie as opposed to the rest of the movie, which felt like nonsense.
Well, it felt like nonsense because it was, but the
It
Autobots
was
are
kind of
getting.
emotional, kind of sad. Just
Yeah, he didn't deserve to die like that. He kind of. It's just kind of heartless how they just dispose of him. Yeah, it didn't sit right.
well, again, that was the purpose of it too. That's why I guess.
I guess we should clarify and say that I didn't have a problem with Lockdown doing his evil things. I don't. He's fine. It's just that there is too much emphasis and focus on the humans in this movie. And as you were saying, it's really boring, honestly. Kelsey Grammer is trying to hunt down all the Autobots. Stanley Tucci is trying to make replicas or make other robots for war, and I think Kelsey Grammer also wants to do that. Mass produce Transformers for war, and then they're using Megatron's brain that's still or his head that's still intact, and they're coding that, right? They're like directing
Yeah,
that
which I don't know
into
how that would make
a
sense,
new
but
body that they're trying to make it look more like Optimus, but because Megatron is secretly controlling it, it becomes Galvatron.
that's what they called it, Galvatron.
Yeah, or yeah, that's what he's supposed to be. Uh, it's just a mess. The beginning also where the creators are shooting down like transformium, whatever it was called. Like, wasn't it called that transformium?
Yeah, I
It can
think that's what
turn
the humans
anything
called
into
it.
metal, and then they wanted the metal because they can use it as a resource.
Because I think this is more implied in the next one, but I think they were like harvesting it to make the Transformers race, if I'm understanding it right.
Right.
Again, like there's no reason for that scene. Doesn't really matter at all in this movie.
And a very expensive scene too. It looked like it was full. It was all digital, just to show like a little dinosaur running through the forest, and then it just gets
Nuked.
yeah, it gets nuked by the transformium stuff. The Dinobots are also in the movie
Yeah, you
in
almost. I kind of forgot that they were in the movie.
non-speaking roles, besides a couple of grunts and growls, and they're kind of just there. They're. I remember when the movie was coming out, they were heavily advertised.
Because everyone likes the Dinobots, or most people who know about Transformers like the
Yeah, the
Dinobots.
Dinobots are easily the best. They're dim-witted in the original movie and the show, but they can speak. They're not as big as they are in the movie compared to Optimus as they were in the TV show. They're like a little taller, but they were cool. They weren't like I don't even know what to call these things. They're like statues in this movie. They're actual animals. The
Like,
Dinobots were semi or like some kind of sentient. Like they
well,
had
Grimlock
sentience.
was, he goes, me, Grimlock.
Yeah, they
He
all
was
had
stupid,
spoke
but
broken English, but they're just like actual creatures and monsters in this film. It's like honestly, they're just doing the source material a disservice.
well, I think it's really just because this movie. I mean, I feel like a lot of the problem was a lot of studio interference, if you want to call it that. I imagine they were put in just to sell toys.
Well, yeah, I can see that, but it's just like, do you want to talk about, I guess, the negative reception this movie got too, or do
I
you
mean,
want
of
to?
course, it's a Michael Bay movie. I mean, I think
I mean, this one has a 17% on Rotten Tomatoes, and like I know definitely Michael Bay's name on it doesn't help, but I just can't believe that a studio would approve of this honestly terrible script. Because you have to studio heads look at it, they give you notes, They approve of it. Steven Spielberg's a producer on this. He approved of this.
Well, I think they looked at it more from like
They
the
probably want
financial
to add
aspect.
these toys in here, but it's still so mind blowing that.
Well, because it's like add these toys here, add this Chinese pandering because lots of that in this movie, tons of product placement.
Oh yeah, okay. Can we talk about the scene where they crash down? I think it was in China, and they hit a Bud Light, uh,
Yeah,
like truck, and then the guy's like, "I hope you got insurance." Mark Wahlberg grabs a Bud Light can, he uncaps it on the car door, drinks, and he's like, "There's your car insurance." He
yeah.
throws the
That's like,
bottle at him.
I was like, what? I remember even when we saw that in theater, I was like, what?
Yeah, it's terrible, terrible product placement. Even the action in this movie too is a step down. Everything is just
Well, because there were scenes like in during the action scenes, it was like I forget which one it was, but like they're going through a bus, and it was like a Victoria's Secret bus or some sort of product
I think that was
placement.
in China too.
Yeah, like they go through a bus just so you can get the logo.
I guess if we're talking about failed action scenes, can we talk about then the what felt like forever car chase scene? After Optimus Prime breaks out and gets the CIA agents off of Mark Wahlberg, uh what's her face? Mark Wahlberg's daughter, her boyfriend shows up in like some kind of racing car. He goes over a hill. He hits. The movie makes a point to show you hit a guy in slow motion. You see the drool come out, and it feels like a 10 minute. I think it was like 10 minutes. This car chase. It was so boring.
Yeah, like none of the time was spent in Optimus Prime trying to escape lockdown.
It's just so bizarre, this movie. And I guess, do you want to get into some of the Chinese pandering then?
Well, yeah, because I mean the whole third act, if you want to call that, the movie takes place in I think Hong Kong or China for no reason. Like they release Galvatron, realize that okay he's not working properly, so immediately go okay let's move all of our stuff over to China. Like because I think it's some excuse. Oh, the CIA is going to investigate or something. Like, what do you mean you're working with the CIA? Like, who
Yeah,
cares?
didn't really make a whole lot of sense.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff we could talk about, like why the factory is being hunted down. Like you're saying it's Optimus's fault, but if Optimus didn't come back, humanity would have been enslaved. So you think they'd be a little grateful?
I don't think they thought that through too much because I guess you could say that. I think I guess they could say that Sentinel Prime was all his fault, even though it was like some massive scheme to get Optimus on the moon to take the bait from the piece of the Ark to revive Sentinel, so Sentinel can betray them. It's a giant mess.
Well, yeah. Like, I mean, again, I'm not gonna go into too much, but a lot of stuff didn't make sense, like how they're copying Galvatron by reading Megatron's dead head. I mean, whatever, man.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess also another boring action scene was when the humans are trying to escape off of lockdown ship
It just
into
took forever.
into that tall skyscraper. Honestly, this movie, if they cut down like those two scenes alone, it could probably be like 2 hours and 10 minutes. Those scenes, especially, just felt so long for no reason.
I had me like checking, like I don't have a watch, but I was like checking my phone, like it's just Jesus, it's gonna end. Oh, another thing too that didn't
Yes.
make sense. It was like
What?
I'm forgetting. I had to remember, but I just forgot.
Who was involved in the scene? Describe it.
Oh, it was Optimus. So he was injured, right? Nothing's really
Oh,
done to fix him.
yeah.
The next thing you
The
know, he just
scan
magically
scan.
gets better, gets a new car for him, and he is okay, good as
His
new.
new design looks terrible.
Well, I think part of it's because Michael Bay hates the color red.
Well, he said I don't think he hates it. He said that it's hard to like photograph with CGI and stuff like that, or it doesn't look as convincing. But Optimus's design in the first three movies is so great. It's different than the original.
But at least they try to keep the spirit of it.
Yeah, they had this. They had the two windows on his chest, the same helmet. This just looks terrible. He doesn't
Because
even
again,
look
they're
like he
going
can
for that.
transform into a car. He looks like a Pacific Rim fighter.
Well, because again, I think they're going for like he's a knight now, apparently, because they mentioned like the Cybertronian knights. I'm like, when was this? Like like the Cybertronian Crusades. I guess they're
That
Cybertronian
that
Muslims.
happened before the Ark, and that happened before the Cube, and that
Did it?
happened after the Fallen. I don't know. I'm just making this up.
Because they make vague references to stuff that happens in the next one, but like I don't know. I'm not gonna read any tie-in comics, so I don't know what happens.
Yeah, I just try to think of other things. The new Autobots too are kind of forgettable. You have Ken Watanabe as Drift, who can turn into a car and a helicopter.
Triple changer.
Yeah, they have the guy with the green car who looked like he had a duster coat on, whatever his name was. They had Hound, played by John Goodman.
I mean, the only good thing is they look more distinct this time.
Yeah, like there's bright blue. Bumblebee gets another Camaro rendition as he does in every movie.
I would say like at least look more distinct because some of the other ones, like in the first, they looks like they kind of.
Yeah, pipe that dog down there. So, I'm trying to think of other things that I had a
Oh, the other thing I
gripe
didn't like
with.
was the
Yes, go.
the transfer of the new KSI Transformers. Like they basically
Oh, it's
like
so
floating
lazy.
particles.
It's so lazy. Did you also notice that before anyone would transform, you would hear the sound effects off screen, and then when it would cut back to the robots transforming, it would like barely show it. Besides, I think Optimus was the only one that they fully showed the transformation. I think they showed it twice because when I rewatched it, I was actually paying attention to this. It just felt so lazy. Like I know it's a pain probably to animate all those moving parts, but
That's what made it
it
cool,
adds to
especially
the
like in the
experience.
first
It looks
one.
so cool. But this one, you just hear a sound effect off screen, then you see them almost transformed already. It just takes away, and it just feels so lazy. I don't know. I mean, I'll get more into the laziness in the fifth one.
Which is lazy too, because like also doesn't make sense. Like they're floating particles that they can program, and I don't understand. Like they can just float, transform. Like none of it makes any sense. Because like how do you kill
Yeah,
them, right? If they're just floating particles
floating particles they seem like they can reappear and disappear.
at will, like they're basically like flying. Like they could just I don't know.
Oh,
It was just really
this just
weird.
popped in my head because I haven't seen this movie in a while. Do you remember when Stanley Tucci the blatant product placement with the Beats pill?
Oh.
Oh man. I'm trying to think of other things I had because I definitely have more to say about the fifth one than this one.
It was just boring. 'Cause again, I think like you were saying that how this gets approved. I think it was they're looking at the Chinese pandemic because the Chinese will watch garbage.
Well, it was probably filmed in China because, believe it or not, Craig, China was the biggest market for this film. It grossed over $1.1 billion. It was the highest grossing movie of 2014, and at the time, it was the 10th highest grossing movie of all time. Try to see how much it made in China.
Imagine a lot, but like again, like all the advertisements, like they think they just showed a shop like a KSI robot that was like an Oreo thing,
Oh yeah, I do remember that.
like for no reason.
Well, not for no reason, but
Well, story no reason.
I'm trying to see it grossed in 10 days $222 million in China in 10 days. Oh, okay, here it is. It grossed between 301 to 320 in China. Until Fast and Furious 7 broke that with 390. What? But basically, this movie does deserve the hate it gets. It is pretty bad. It's boring, and I honestly, in today's time, I can live with bad dialogue. I can live with stuff like that, stuff that doesn't make too much sense in a movie. But a boring movie is just something that can be so unforgivable, especially when the premise has a bunch of dinosaurs or a bunch of robots running around trying to kill each other. How can you make that boring?
Because they weren't doing that. We were focused on the human conflict. We had to redeem this weird uh, Tucci's character. He has to redeem himself, this inventor. It's like, you're an inventor. You don't want to destroy the world.
I'm an inventor, just like you. I'm an inventor. I gotta invent things. I'm an inventor. You know that? It's like, shut up. My God.
'Cause this other thing I was thinking too when I was watching this. A lot of what I think made Shia's character more enjoyable was that he wasn't really an action hero. He was just like this more comic relief.
Well, especially
Marky
the
Mark.
third one, they pretty much tell you that he's not a hero. That he's literally just a messenger. They literally like spoon feed that to you.
But
But
yeah, but at
rightfully,
least he,
yeah,
he
rightfully so though, because what's he gonna do? Like outsmart a giant robot and like beat it? Like no, he's just
get
a
a
human.
minigun to shoot them.
Yeah, he's not the Rock where he could probably punch Megatron in the face and like tear off half his face. He's just some. In the first two movies, he's just a kid. He's just some
That's funny
guy.
because The Rock actually was considered the lead for the movie after Shia left.
Oh my god, that would so bad.
But I think I saw he couldn't do it because he was filming Hercules.
Oh,
So he got Marky Mark.
I mean,
Because
again,
like,
yeah, you go, you go.
no, because like with Shia, he at least he wasn't just anything was on screen. At least he was always making jokes. He was, I think, funny in
He
his
was
movies.
natural. Shia was very natural.
Like Marky Mark, no jokes. It's more him, I guess. The humor came from him riding on the daughter's boyfriend, which
Yeah, he
wasn't
called him
really.
like Lucky Charms.
Yeah.
He's kind of just harassing this guy.
I mean, I get
Rightfully
it.
so. Rightfully so. This guy
You know,
has the whole Romeo and Juliet law known. Like that's a problem. He's probably been practicing.
it's how he grooming her.
That's a problem.
But like he just didn't like it was a little too serious, which I don't think works for these kind of movies.
Yeah, especially when they have the backstory of his wife died and he's a single father raising a daughter. Like that kind of, I guess you could say, attempt of human drama doesn't belong in a Transformers movie.
Well, Michael Bay Transformers
Yeah, it
movie.
doesn't belong in a Michael Bay Transformers film. Or the last movie just had Optimus execute Sentinel Prime in point blank range.
Because even like the bad guy, Hattinger, this whatever department he worked for, the whole conflict was that he wants to obviously kill the Transformers or deliver Optimus Prime to lockdown so they can harvest transformium to for get
The
money off
seed.
rich
Yeah, the
defense
seed.
contracts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But why do they need it then if it looks like these Transformers can just like appear out of thin air and reappear?
Oh, because they need more of that so they can make more of these robots for defense contractors. So like that's the whole point. They just wanted to get rich. I'm like, well, that's kind of boring. It's not grandiose like Sentinel wanting to enslave humanity.
Yeah. Oh, Sentinel.
It's like a little too realistic, but no, it's
Yeah.
not fun.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot more serious than it had to be. Too long too. That's my biggest complaint. It's boring and it's too long.
It's like the double whammy.
Do you have any final thoughts about uh Transformers Age of Extinction before we move on?
Not really. I mean, like, there's like nothing to watch it for.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. But lucky for us, it only
Oh
gets
no.
better.
No.
So Transformers the last
Wait,
night.
sorry. Actually, I have one more thing about Transformers 4
You wait now until I start talking?
because I just remembered
Alright, go.
they had this. They had some like act or talent show to be cast in the movie in China.
Oh, is that what that actress won?
No, I looked it up 'cause I thought she
Oh.
was, but apparently, like for some extras in the movie,
Oh,
they
okay.
had some talent show, which
Thank
is
you.
really weird. I don't know why you'd go to
Thank
it.
you
I
for
mean,
interrupting me so I could hear that.
well, yeah, once and also Michael Bay got mugged in China, but that's not as important.
Did he actually?
Yeah,
Oh wow. Transformers
um,
The Last Night is the last Michael Bay Transformers film. It came out in 2017. I we did not see this in the theaters. I had no interest at the time.
yeah. After the fourth one, I was like, nope.
Yeah. Oh, I guess we forgot to mention real quick because it's important. The fourth one ends with Optimus Prime flying into space because apparently he can fly now without his trailer.
They fly now.
They fly now. He's flying to go find his creator. That's important for the fifth one because he's not really in the movie a lot. But before we get into details and plot, like specific stuff in the plot, This is really bad. The fifth one is. I can't believe how bad it is. When I was watching it, I think I told you before when I told you guys to watch Transformers movies. I said the fifth one is the laziest. It felt the most amateurish, amateur, whatever the how to use it. You know what I mean? That in some of the scenes in the movie, you could see the camera, you can see shadows. They had like what I think of the chase scene when Hot Rod is driving around with the girl against her will in the car. You could see like not crew members, but like the map box for the camera. It's like no one is looking at the monitors and no one can see this. And I wasn't
I
even
mean,
looking for these mistakes. It was just stuff that was so obvious.
honestly, I wasn't paying too close of attention because it was so boring.
Well, yeah,
You're,
that too.
I believe you 100%. Just I was not paying that close of attention. I was, trying to get through this as quickly as possible.
It was so bad. It was so annoying just watching this. So right off the bat, you know you're in for a treat when the first couple lines are "magic is real," and it starts. A Transformers movie starts with Merlin and those knights of
And King
Camelot.
Arthur,
Yeah,
Knights of the Round Table, fighting the Saxons. Like, what is this?
and then a giant three-headed alien monster comes down and starts breathing fire because his staff that he uses is a Transformer staff. Like what?
It, apparently, Transformers helped King Arthur for some reason, and we find out that they've been all throughout human history.
Yeah, apparently Bumblebee fought in World War II. They showed Ironhide in the backdrop of some like pirate ship. It's like, no, he got there with everybody else
Yeah, I was like,
with
did we
LaBouffe in
forget?
2007. No.
I think Optimus Prime they showed either like fighting against Napoleon or fighting with George Washington. I was like, what?
Yeah, they're just completely
What?
retconning everything.
It makes no sense. Like, why would they even be fighting with George Washington or fighting against Napoleon? Like, who cares? Like, in their perspective.
It makes no difference for them because the Transformers could not care about like going into these human conflicts. They only care about the Decepticons doing evil things and they have to stop them. So, after all that nonsense, Optimus Prime runs into the Cybertronian goddess Quintessa, and then she brainwashes him into Nemesis Prime and sends him back so he can get Merlin's staff and restore the energy on Cybertron, which I thought was destroyed from the third one. And they need Merlin's staff because it can take Earth's energy or something like that.
Because Earth is now Unicron.
Yeah.
Which I think they would have figured out if it was the second one. They would have figured, hey, we can't destroy this planet, it's Unicron. But what do I know? Or no,
Could
the
they even
sun, but still.
could they even enslave it then the planet in the third one if it was Unicron this whole time?
They want to enslave the people, right?
I thought they wanted to bring Cybertron to Earth.
Well, yeah, but which I thought got destroyed.
I'm going to talk about the worst part of the movie, and that is when the U.S. military makes a deal with Megatron, and they meet him in the desert. They bring out chairs and tables, and they negotiate which Transformers, which Decepticons they can give Megatron, so they can give each other like information and stuff. It honestly felt like I was watching a parody because he's like, "Oh, I want Nitro Zeus," and then it would show on a screen like in big red lettering the name of the Transformers. And I'm like, did a college guy make this? Like, is this like a student film? What is this?
I was just like stunned, like the names and all the like. Oh my god! It was just I even like why were they even making a deal with him? Like because they were saying, oh, we have to see how this plays out. We should let Megatron and like follow him. I was like,
By the way,
why?
because I think I told you also, he's Galvatron in the last movie. They don't explain how he's just Megatron now. He looks completely different.
I
What
guess like
happened?
yeah, I'm tired of pretending to be Galvatron.
Did he say that?
Oh, I'm just assuming that's what
Oh,
happened.
okay. I was like, I guess I missed that.
No,
Uh,
no, nothing's explained.
I'm trying to think. So, our what's his name? Mark Wahlberg is now living as like some kind of protector of Autobots in a junkyard, and then he meets that girl Isabella. And can we also just quickly talk about the cringy trailer that came out when this movie came out with the girl saying like what it means to be a girl? Do you remember that?
Oh,
You
I
remember
don't
that
remember.
trailer? It was very weird.
Because I was thinking the whole time, like, why was she even in the movie? Like, she served no
She
purpose.
has no purpose to the movie at all. She's just there, so I guess the teenage girls can go watch. Could bring teenage girls into the movie theater to watch this.
Honestly, that's probably the. I mean, I hope that's their reason because nothing else makes sense. Because again, like I think she shows up in the beginning. Uh, One of her friends, for some reason, she's living in the ruins because oh, my parents died here. It's like, well, so what? You have to leave the war zone, especially since like it's just contained to a small area of Chicago.
I'm reading the Wikipedia plot, and I'm like, I don't remember any of this
Yeah, I saw this 2 days ago, and I barely remember it.
because all I remember is there's the awkward flirting with Mark Wahlberg and the British lady. It's so bad. It was. I think Mark Wahlberg didn't even care. I think this is just a paycheck for him. He could care less about his performance.
You can say that for everybody.
Well, I feel like the British lady was trying. Anthony Hopkins looked like he was just sleepwalking everything.
It's funny because I think he said like he hates being in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and he then right after does a Transformers movie. Like, what's wrong with people? The paycheck can't be that good if you hate
Did you
Marvel so
notice
much.
also when he called Anthony Hopkins calls Seymour Simmons, and this scene also is edited so bizarrely. It's the one where he figures out that Pangea was Unicron, right? It was that scene, and you hear Anthony Hopkins talking, and then then he says the line, "It's Pangea." He sounds completely different. I think they did that after a rough cut, and they realized that nothing makes sense, so they added that voiceover and that flashback to when he's looking at the board in his room of relics. And he said, "That's Pangea." If you watch the movie, if you look up the clip, he sounds completely different. Then you'll know what I'm talking about.
Again, you're probably right. It's just I don't want to watch this ever again.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of other stuff.
Well, you brought up Simmons. I mean, I was disappointed about. I saw he was going to be in the movie. I was hoping he would have had more screen time.
No, he's like a loser now in Cuba, I think, right? Was he in Cuba?
Yeah, he was in Cuba, I guess, hanging out with the Autobots, but yeah, he's in it for like basically a cameo.
Yeah, he's in it for that one scene.
It's like our because obviously he's our favorite character from the original trilogy.
So why do they have to go underwater again through a submarine?
I think they were looking for some lost
Oh yeah,
ship.
Cybertronian spaceship. That's right. That's right. I just don't remember any of this because then
I know
Mark
I'm trying,
Wahlberg's like
trying to
I think
remember.
isn't Mark Wahlberg related to Merlin or one of the King Arthur and his knights?
No, that was the British lady.
So why was that thing on him? That piece that dying Autobot gave to him early on?
I don't know. I think he was like chosen or something. I don't remember.
Huh. So Optimus Prime is evil now, and he's fighting the Autobots, and he hears Bumblebee speak, even though Bumblebee spoke in the first movie, and that like brings him back, and it frees him of the control of Quintessa.
But
Uh,
then like he's about to get executed by his fellow knights for some reason. I was like, when was this?
oh, and that's when Cade, yeah, his thing turns into the Excalibur sword. That's right. That's
Yeah, or
right.
something like that.
Anthony Hopkins dies,
Yeah,
and
that was the thing too. He sees them at Stonehenge, just casually walks up and gets shot.
yeah, Megatron just blows him away.
I was like, what?
Trying to
Like,
think.
yeah, I'm not expecting things to make perfect sense, but like when they came like keep it together, like a scene to scene, like it's very troubling.
Oh yeah, the movie ends with the Autobots leaving, so they could rebuild Cybertron for the fifth time. Uh,
Rebuild with what?
in Quintessa's disguise as a human, and I guess they were hinting at a sixth movie that never came to be because this movie was a terrible box office disaster. Had a budget of 260, it only grossed 605, which on paper looks good, but let's see. It grossed 130 million in America, which is okay. Has a 16% on Rotten Tomatoes, and apparently this movie also lost Paramount over $100 million after marketing and distribution. It is an
Nice.
absolute disaster all around. And again, I was baffled with the Merlin stuff. That's just like, what were they thinking? That's just far out.
Even the order of the Wiccans.
Oh, they had a picture of LaBouffe from the first Transformers movies
Yeah,
eBay
Ladies Man
page.
217. But like this whole secret of like covering up the existence of Transformers and stuff like that's their whole purpose. Like I'm in shock because none of it makes any sense. Like, they've been here secretly fighting on Earth's conflicts for the past at least 2,000 years. Do you think a Decepticon killed Jesus?
Maybe.
And then the Autobot brought him back to life.
Yeah, it was Optimus with the Matrix of Leadership before the Primes used it and sealed their body away. So this movie had some controversy because they shot at the Blenheim Palace in Oxfordshire, England, which is the home of Winston Churchill. And that was a scene where um, Cade or Mark Wahlberg looks at a portrait and sees Bumblebee in like World War II attire or like disguised as a World War II vehicle. He's like, "B was fighting for the humans. He's so nice." And then Anthony Hopkins says something like, um, "Bumblebee is many things, but they didn't call like or they didn't call him nice in World War II." And then for no reason, it like goes back and it has like Winston Churchill's home covered in Nazi flags and Bumblebee's fighting Nazis and blowing things up. It's like what?
Yeah, because I figured when that controversy came up, because that was before the movie came out, I figured it was obviously for some World War II flashback. Like, obviously, it was more of just why.
Yeah, why would have to? You have to think about it from a tactical point of view, where they have to make these big Nazi flags, and then you
I
have
mean,
to.
more for like from the story purpose. Like,
Oh, it had no purpose at all. It's a flashback, and it's a flashback that you don't need to show.
it also again it ruins the continuity because
I don't.
when
I'm
does
just gonna
Bumblebee come
say
to
it.
Earth?
I don't think they cared about continuity in this one.
I mean, they didn't care at all to begin with, but like each one it got worse. But this one was just not, like you can't even call it a sequel because it like overwrites all of the previous movies. None of it makes sense.
Yeah, they just could care less about continuity. It's clearly something that they had very little regard for.
And like I said, or I think I said in the previous one, but people who read movies and all they talk about are plot holes are very stupid people. Because there's more to talk about a movie than just inconsistencies. Because they can't think of everything. But that being said, the fact that like you watch this and like you can't like even pretend for a second like this makes sense with any of the other movies, it kind of makes it hard to watch. Because like in the third one, how did Optimus, how to make it try to know Optimus had the Matrix of leadership? Yeah, whatever. Just go along with it. Because that's just like one scene. This is like the whole movie. I'm like, I don't understand how this fits in with the rest of the movies.
Yeah, that's like the other ones you can give a pass on. At least the first three you can give a pass on, but nothing in this movie makes sense. You're like, what is happening?
Like I know it's to sell toys, but like even then, like you think you try to make it make sense.
Yeah, I'm just like sitting there just watching this because I watched this I think at night. I'm like, oh no, actually I watched this in two sittings because I couldn't finish it in one. It was draining me. But it's just you're like, what is going on?
Like
And
even then too, I
yeah,
just saw
you
this
go.
right now. How difficult was it to get Cybertron to Earth? Because you had Sentinel create this whole device just to make a space bridge, and Quintessa brings Cybertron like it's nothing. Like not a big deal, but just like why?
Well, how come Quintessa never appeared beforehand?
Also, too, she was there wasn't like a Quintesson. There was multiple of them. Like that's how they enslaved them. It wasn't just one sorceress. Oh, it doesn't make sense. I mean, I'm assuming if they're going with the King Arthur lore, she's probably some Arthurian. I don't know my King Arthur lore well, but she's probably some witch from that mythology. Well, that it helps or makes any sense, but
In the context of the movie?
yeah,
I don't know.
because they're going with like this knight theme. Like Optimus is apparently a knight fighting
What
crusades.
I don't understand is that they made Unicron part of Earth, right? But Unicron was a bad guy in the original animated movie.
Also, there's no payoff either. I mean,
They just name drop the then they just say Unicron just to say it.
yeah, there are these spikes coming up. Why? That's Unicron. What happens? Nothing. Who cares?
That's why I was so confused. I'm like, this is Unicron? I it just remember professionals made this movie. Professionals.
I mean, a lot of people probably did their job well, but not the ones that mattered.
Yeah, the VFX looks great as always. They put a lot of time and effort in it, but everything else is so lazy. This one's also boring. They brought back Josh Duhamel. He doesn't do anything.
Like he helps hunt down Autobots.
I just I don't know, Craig. I'm glad I didn't see this in the theater. I would have been I don't even know. I'm just glad I didn't see it in the theater.
And it's still at least I only saw it once because we have to rewatch these. I'm only this is the one time I'm seeing it.
Yeah, it's just I know I keep repeating myself, but that's the only words I could use to describe this thing. This
God,
disaster.
yeah, the story is obviously terrible. Nothing makes sense. Just like I'm still like stuck on the fact that like I think George Washington was fighting with Optimus Prime. How is there even a war? Like I imagine Optimus would just like mow them down, especially at that time period.
Yeah, we saw what Optimus could do to Megatron with one arm. Could you imagine what he could do to a bunch of people with muskets?
Like, oh no, they shot a cannon at him and he just mows them down.
Yeah, he just pulls out his swords and just slices everyone in half. He's just yelling, "You die!"
As if he rips the head out like I forget what the British generals like. It rips out his head, like stomps on him, starts eating him.
So does that mean the Autobots just let 9/11 happen?
Well, Decepticons in 9/11. Didn't you
Oh,
know
okay, okay. I didn't know
that?
that.
So that this explains how the good
What
guys
about
won every
the
war.
Rwandan genocide? They just like sit there and twiddle their thumbs. They didn't help out during that.
No, well, Decepticons are doing it. They're being discreet.
Okay. It was what's his name? What was the robot from the first movie that could transform into a CD player? Frenzy. He was disguised as Hutus and killing the Tutsis.
Wait, so during World War II, Decepticons participated in the Holocaust?
I guess.
They were the trains.
Did the Autobots give America the like atomic power to create the nuclear bomb to nuke Japan twice? Optimus is in the helicopter, or no, there's in the plane that drops it, and
It
he'll just say
rings.
something like, oh,
No, he wouldn't do that because he wants to like personally execute them.
oh, that's true, that's true. How about he drops it from his when he's flying in his trailer? He just drops it.
It's just flight tech.
We will kill them all.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, I guess that's how the good guys won every war. The Autobots were there. That's why the bad guys lost every war because the Decepticons were there, right? That's how it works.
Yeah, I mean, it just because I know in the second one they try to say that there was Transformers there for a while on Earth. Sure, whatever. But the fact that they're deliberately showing like Ironhide, Optimus.
But they said they were there because they were looking for something.
No, that's what I'm saying. In the second one,
Yeah.
that's fine. Because as we know, Megatron was like one of the first ones to touch down in Earth because he got trapped in ice. And that's all fine. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But Optimus and those other Autobots arrived on Earth. We saw them arrive on Earth, but apparently Ironhide was there with a bunch of like Viking ships or whatever pirate ships. It's just really lame.
Like I can't understand like and apparently Bumblebee's a prequel to this, which makes even less sense.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Bumblebee fought Nazis. He was doing stuff in the 80s. I don't know. Apparently, Optimus appears in Bumblebee too, like
Yeah, but
on
that's like
Earth.
all their
No, on
G1
Earth, I
looks.
think. I don't know. Maybe we
But
should talk about we have to watch Bumblebee. I don't know, but
I don't care to see it. It was more of just I know that's supposed to be a prequel to these movies, right?
yeah, I think so.
Which makes even less sense.
Yeah, I don't like this movie at all.
Oh, another thing too, not that this really matters much, but at the beginning of the movie when Bumblebee showed up, he falls apart.
Oh yeah, that just came out of nowhere. His ability to do that.
Yeah, I was
Like he
like,
fakes his own death.
oh God, wait, well, I thought Bumblebee survived. Like, what happened? Oh, he can pull himself back together.
Yeah, he just
Oh,
does that out of nowhere.
like unless he somehow got that ability from the Transformium, I don't know.
Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense. It's lazy. Oh, this is very important. The aspect ratio kept on changing almost every time it would cut. I forget what scene it was, but it'd be IMAX format than regular 16 by 9, and it was so annoying. Especially if you're watching it on full screen on your computer, it is so annoying. Just film with one camera or film consecutive sequences with one camera. You don't in one scene use two different cameras with different formats. I'm sure you noticed this, Craig, right? You had to notice it.
Again, I was not paying that close of attention to it.
How did you not notice that?
I think you're seeing like I was watching the movie, but I was like my mind was basically anywhere else but the movie,
Okay.
which is why I barely remember because I saw it 2 days ago.
Yeah, it's just it felt like very amateur mistakes. Michael Bay was he was phoning it in.
Oh, and the Dinobots are in it again for even less time than the other one.
I think
Could
all
have
they
appeared in the final battle.
yeah, I mean I think they do, don't they?
No, those were like some random knights. I don't think that was Grimlock.
Oh. Well, they appear in the Grimlock eats a car and Mark Wahlberg yells at him. I remember that.
That's the thing, like with all these movies, where like a lot of the interaction between like the humans and Autobots was basically the humans yelling at them like animals.
I mean, to be fair though, like the way Michael Bay characterizes some of them, they do act like animals.
True, but like even like Shia LaBeouf and Bumblebee, half the time is him just yelling at Bumblebee, "Get back in the shed right now!"
Yeah, it's true. Or he's like chewing Bumblebee out. He's like, "How come you don't go to the garage to hang out anymore with me?"
Yeah, just sit in the
Like,
garage in your
yeah,
car mode.
yeah, I'm gonna be going to college. I can't bring a car with me, so I can see why LaBeouf decided to. He left at the right time.
Uh, Depends on who you ask. 'Cause people like us will say left at the right time. Other people say you should have joined. But besides the point.
Yeah. Besides the point, I think it's unanimous. The fourth and fifth one are just absolutely terrible. I'm still amazed that the fifth one was worse than the fourth one. I didn't think that was possible, but here we are.
I really like. I know we talked a lot about it, but like I feel like I'm sort of a loss of words.
Merlin and Transformers exist in a movie together. Let that sink in.
They don't just exist in like a movie together. They interacted together.
They're directly related to each other in the movie somehow. Even yeah, it just it's embarrassing.
I mean, I would say I feel bad. Most people already got paid good money, so I don't feel too bad.
Yeah, I agree. I don't have much else to say.
Oh, I forget. At the end of the movie, did they destroy Cybertron again?
No, they leave Earth to rebuild Cybertron.
Okay. Because I
Which
remember like Cybertron was like falling apart and attacking Earth. I'm like, what is going on? Like, we need to attack the ignition chamber.
we
I was
need to
losing it a
kill the
bit.
humans. Optimus, what? I'm surprised Optimus didn't really viciously and aggressively murder somebody.
Well, he had to be in the movie to do that.
That's very true.
I know that's your favorite part, Optimus killing people.
Not just killing them. He like it feels personal when he does it.
Yeah, ever since like the second one, or the second and third one was like very violent, which kind of made the schlock all fun.
Yeah.
Now again, no fighting. Oh, remember in the fourth one? I guess going back then. Remember when he kills Lockdown? He goes honor till the end.
Yeah, he slices his chest in half, and then he drags his sword from his chest up to his face and cuts it in half.
I was
And
like,
you
what are you
see like
talking about?
Transformers blood like go all over the place.
I was like, honor to the end. Like, what are you talking
He's
about?
talking to Mark Wahlberg, I think.
No, I think he was talking about Lockdown. Like honor till the end. Like, what honor?
No,
Lockdown had
because
no honor.
he definitely said it to Mark Wahlberg.
Not that that makes any more
Because Mark
sense, but
Wahlberg distracted Lockdown for him, and then when Kelsey Grammer is about to shoot him, literally Optimus just blows him up in front of Mark Wahlberg, just kills him. Yeah.
he keeps saying a lot of like I'm gonna kill people. He keeps using the kill word a lot, which feels weird from Optimus Prime.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention the fourth one. Did he say like, "When I find the human that did this, I'm going to kill them"?
Yeah, like he keeps doing like I'll kill.
In the
I'll
fourth one,
kill them all.
before when he's on Grimlock and they're running down, he yells at like a faceless Transformers, "I'll kill you!" He throws his sword at him.
It's like, oh yeah, it's like you'll defend my family or I'll kill you.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, these movies are a giant mess. I do not recommend them at all. What
Like
about you,
not even
Craig?
for fun. Like there's not you can't even watch it just for the action because the action's not even good. There's barely any action in this one.
Yeah, this one mostly just consists of Mark Wahlberg and the British lady running around, and Anthony Hopkins just like mumbling and saying expository things.
Which like contradict and like would melt melt the whole universe's continuity. Not that it had much to begin with, but it certainly made it worse.
Yeah, don't see this movie. Don't see the fourth one either. If you can watch, if you like some schlock, you could watch the first three. But of the five Transformers movies, yeah, four and five are terrible. Uh, Michael Bay phoned it in, and a bunch of people killed themselves because of this. Just kidding, that didn't happen. Craig, any final thoughts?
Yeah, please don't. I mean, no one watched it to begin with. That's why it did so poorly at the box office. Don't even watch it.
Hold on, I accidentally hit something on my computer. All right, yeah. Don't watch it either. I can't agree with Craig anymore. Just don't watch it, please. Save yourself the 2.5 hours.
That's how long it was. It felt like it was twice as long.
This one felt longer. The last thing I'll say is this one felt longer than the fourth one. And it was
Oh,
shorter by about 15 minutes.
it's like you're watching. It's like Jesus Christ. Like nothing makes sense. Nothing's happening.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. I think I've exhausted all of my talking points on these movies. So you don't have any more final thoughts, Craig? Right? You're good.
I'm good. But what was your favorite scene from the fourth one besides T.J. Miller dying?
I don't know.
That's obviously your favorite scene.
I don't know if I have one. I'm trying to think. I guess probably the only cool scene is when Optimus comes back to help with the Dinobots. That was okay. And they're running all through China or Hong Kong, wherever they were. I guess that was all right. That wasn't too bad. But yeah, seeing T.J. Miller's character, and I can't stress enough that seeing his character in the movie die was was funny and satisfying.
Yes, yeah, you have to be sure to clearly specify. I don't
Yes,
want them coming
his
after us.
character in the movie, he's an actor.
I don't know. Is he though? He's not a very good one.
Well, he's an unemployed actor now. So yeah, I think we are the unbiased opinion, where everyone's opinion is biased, except ours. I'm Colin,
Craig.
and we will not be watching any more Transformers movies.
Thank God.